UKLC is presented by Barclays and Curry's PC World.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the UKLC, presented to you by Barclays and brought to you by Curry's PC Gaming World. My name is Jake Hitbrain Matthews. I'm joined by Ken Alexander Lowe. How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. It's feeling a bit rough this weekend, but you know, it's nothing that a bit of good League of Legends can't fix, my man.
Well, we are kicking off week 5 here. We're beyond the halfway point. We're into that second stage of the round robin, and all the teams are going to get to play against each other again. We've got some pretty good games coming up. So actually, before we just kind of diving into everything, let's have a little look at today's schedule to see what games we've got coming up here at the UKLC. We're starting off our day with London versus Nvision, then it's Demise versus Bulldog, Barrage versus Munster, and we're rounding it out with M&M Gaming versus Enclave. Ken, are there any games there that are like jumping out to you that you're quite excited for today?
I think there's going to be 2 really good games, M&M versus Enclave and London versus Nvision. Just given the performances of Barrage, you know, I'm not expecting a huge amount. I mean, I'm hoping they surprise me today. They've had a lot of shuffles in their roster. Oh, sorry, Bulldog, isn't it? Bulldog had the roster
yeah,
shuffles.
Bulldog on
So I think Bulldog, I'm not expecting a huge amount from, but I'd like to be surprised. You know, that's a hopeful one, especially versus Demise. I'm pretty much looking forward to London versus Nvision and M&M versus Enclave.
Yeah, obviously they're the kind of obvious ones that jump off the page, but maybe these shuffles to the rosters could be enough for Bulldog. We'll have to find out. But let's have a little look at the standings and just remind ourselves where we're at here in the UKLC. Enclave, M&M are at the top, tied for first currently. Then it's Nvision, London, and Munster all tied in that second to kind of 6th spot in the group. Then it's Demise, then it's Barrage, and then at the bottom it is Bulldog. Last week, Bulldog did get somewhat closer, if I remember right. I might be having a complete brain fart on this one, but I did see some life in Bulldog. But we've still got a lot of teams tied. I think that's the key thing coming into this is a lot of our teams are very, very close to each other in the standings. We have a very competitive setting at the UKLC so far.
Yeah, I think there's plenty of shifting that can happen over the next few weeks. There's no real massive clear favorites, I think, apart from, you know, M&M and Enclave starting to pull away. I think M&M are definitely one of the hot teams in the UKLC. But like you said, there's plenty of middle ground movement here. Realistically, 1 win separating 1st and 5th. We are still expecting massive shifts as teams continue to grow over the course of the split.
Yeah, but I mean, the thing is, there's not really that much time left for them. So for some of these teams, every game matters. This game for London and Vision is super, super important. They're both tied currently in the standings of each other, and this is the last time they'll face off versus each other. I'm just having a quick look on my little document here. Last time Nvision played versus London, it was Nvision that won. So if they get that 2-0 up, that could be something that could play into potential tiebreaker scenarios later down the line. So a win here for London is important to kind of tie out and even up on that score. But let's actually take this moment to kind of focus a little bit more in on this game, London versus Nvision, because, you know, I want to dive into the matchups individually, especially this mid lane. BB Muffin versus Chimera. BB Muffin has been probably one of the more coin flip mid laners. He's looked very, very good when he starts to get rolling. But if he gets put behind, it's just this chain effect of just awfulness for him, unfortunately. He kind of just tanks out in the game and gets caught out in silly positional errors, where Chimera has been somewhat sturdy for London, I think.
Yeah, Chimera really came on to the UKLC explosive. You know, he was doing a lot of work in the mid lane, but slowly, I think, started to sort of just become more consistent rather than that kind of explosive carry mid laner. But he's got a lot of potential behind him. I think he's probably one of the better mid laners we have in the entire tournament. Whereas BB Muffin, like you said, he has up and down performances. When he's good, he's basically solo carrying. When he's bad, he's almost non-existent. So, we've seen that from this team over the course of the split quite a lot.
Yeah,
I think it comes down to champion choice for me, to be honest.
Yeah, right. And champion choice for BB Muffin is, I'd say, somewhat limited. We know he's lent heavily on the Orianna for the last few weeks. I know Chimera's got a much wider champion pool. I mean, there are those pocket picks like the Nvision, which obviously he kind of debuted in the UK scene on. So with that, London could just look to pinch this mid lane pool in this game as much as possible and just deny BB Muffin his comfort picks and force Chimera onto something, well, not really force Chimera onto anything because Chimera's Chample can handle it, but force BB Muffin onto something maybe he's not as comfortable on. But then again, you've also got to look at the other players on these rosters. If you're Nvision, Golden God and Raisins have been a stellar bot lane. Bear Tree also being a top laner who's kind of stood out to us since joining in the scene. But then again, something about London hasn't completely stuck together, and I'm trying to put my finger on what it is that kind of gone wrong, because at the beginning of the split, everybody said London are one of the better teams here. They are the favorites in the UKLC, and something hasn't quite stuck. So they're currently still kind of stuck in that middle ground part of the standings. We'll have to see what they can change coming into this week.
Yeah, I think when you look at Nvision, they have some players that really stand out in terms of solo performances. Alex, I think, really is sticking out to me as one of the more explosive, the more carry-focused junglers. When he gets his Graves, he really, really pops off. Efan has had some stellar performances in the top lane. BB Muffin, when he's playing, his game, is absolutely insane. Then you look at London, I think Bear Tree maybe second top laner in the tournament next to Rifty. Warden I would say Warden's a bit hit or miss. Chimera can definitely be strong, and obviously, like you said, they've got a really strong bot lane. But the problem with London is we just haven't seen the consistency from them. They have the incredible team, but they just don't have the consistency, and that's what we need to see over the next few weeks. Just consistent wins from a team that should be top 2 in our league.
Yeah, coming into this game, we have 10 very, very solid players individually, but coming together, it's how effectively they can come together. Now, this will obviously break the tie between these teams either way. We will be getting into Champ Select shortly, but before that, we'll cut to a quick break. And when we're back with Champ Selects in the game between London and Nvision. Don't go anywhere. See you in a second. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the UKLC. We're just about to get into Champ Select between London and Nvision. This one could be a very spicy game between these teams, and I'm curious to see what gets taken away here. Do they pinch into BB Muffin's pool, or are they just going to focus more on what is meta? For so far, the set's going to get taken away. Evan has really, really liked that pick, so kind of understandable for London to ban that.
Yeah, Evan's really been into taking the set for his top lane. It's been one of the picks that I think he's had some of the best performances on for his team. So that makes perfect sense to me. Aphelios taken off. Interesting for that blue side, but I guess that's because Golden God maybe doesn't want to, I guess, consider that as a first pick potential. Syndra makes a lot of sense, though. Syndra getting banned out this early on. She's very flexible, but banning it on, so obviously banning it on red side rather is fine, because we see that sometimes there's a blue side first pick. Graves against Alex, I know we said earlier, he's a carry jungler, and banning Graves against him, especially if Warden's not comfortable picking that particular champion, makes perfect sense, Jake.
Well, to me, that's actually kind of an interesting one because it shows that London have something else they want to first pick. Because I've seen Warden play the Graves to success as well. That's what they wanted to go for, the Kalista here. Question is does BB Muffin play Twisted Fate? Because typically people have been picking Twisted Fate into the Kalista, kind of just the gold card holds her in place. Something else that can hold her in place is that Ashe. And with a lot of the AD carry pool thinned out, I actually really like the Ashe here for Nvision.
Ashe has actually been something that has been getting heavily prioritized in the LCK. It's also a pretty solid pick up into the Kalista. You outrange her, you slow her, you make it easier for to lock her down. You have the targeted CC. It's actually a pick that makes a lot of sense, but the only issue with Ashe is you have to be super careful about your volley usage. You have to make sure you're maintaining distance because obviously you're not exactly the best duelist in the world, which Kalista excels at in the lane.
Looking for someone else to kind of pair up with Ashe. But also bring some hard engage. The Rakan is going to get locked in for Nash, so Golden God could be in for a really, really rough lane. We'll see what they want to pair with it. That Fresh is available, and the Kalista Fresh is such a slippery lane. You can't catch either one out unless you somehow hit them both with the CC. So I'd actually really like to see a Fresh here, and then maybe the TF for Chimera, and then that kind of denies some extra kind of counter into this.
Yeah, I think Thresh would be the classic pickup here. It's interesting that they obviously just had to let that go. It's going to be a Nautilus is like secondary, you know, like if you're not. I mean, it's interesting that Raisins wouldn't go for the Thresh in this scenario just because it's something that I know that he loves. It gives you the extra safety. You can kind of you run it as like the double lantern. Realistically, you have the Thresh lantern and the Kalista ultimate. But I think Nautilus is essentially like a second Thresh in this instance, with just I would say slightly easier to hit CC and a bit more CC built into his kit. So that's just something that Raisins is going to prefer in this scenario. I think maybe especially versus the Ashe or the Rakan, it's going to be a Pantheon lock-in, which I think is the flexibility. Obviously, we can see that top, we can see it jungle, we can still see it mid for BB Muffin as well.
Yeah, I really like this Pantheon, actually. It does offer some flexibility. The Nautilus, to me, screams that they wanted really kind of solid, hard engage. You know, you can press the R button with the depth charge. It's going to land. It's going to get the CC onto whoever they need to deal with. And it does well into the Rakan as well. Because if Rakan jumps in, an auto attack from Nautilus means he's locked in place. So I guess it's quite nice when you're dealing with that. But now we'll have to see what's going to get taken away in the second ban phase. The Jarvan being denied. You don't want to deal with that. The Jarvan Galio wombo combo. So just going to take that away. The Olaf and the Fiddlesticks. This is just junglers getting banned harder and harder here.
Yeah, maybe also like specifically going up against Warden. Fiddlesticks is a pick that's been gaining popularity. Ever since, you know, Razork played it in the LEC, we've seen a lot more junglers trying to bring Fiddlesticks out. Super strong on a team fight scenario. I think it functions so well with the Galio, as does the Jarvan. So you've got two picks that would really synergize well with the Galio being taken off the board. Elise and Olaf being pinched here as well, which would mean we still have the Nidalee available if you wanted to go for a more farming orientated jungler. You still have a Lee Sin option, and it's going to be the Echo locked in, but that's still kind of flexible between jungle and mid. Yeah,
I really like this actually from Nvision. They've got a great bot lane locked in. They've got two flex picks here, so they haven't really shown their hand to London, and now London have to kind of go for what's potentially comfortable. The Galio obviously for the mid lane, so they're looking for a jungler top laner here. If they do go for this Gangplank, it obviously means they have more kind of stuff to layer onto the Galio R on top of the Nautilus hook and stuff like that. Also gives a fairly neutral top lane for Bear Tree. And now they're looking for their jungler. Like you said, that Lee Sin is left open. Curious to see what they decide to go for Warden here.
I think, you know, Rek'Sai's open if you wanted to go for it. It's been a little bit more risky. Lee Sin is there. Nocturne combos well with the Galio. Lots of global pressure coming out from London. That's what you need to be aware of. Like, Gangplank's a great weak side top laner, great blind top laner. He's got global pressure with his ultimate. The global or eventually sort of semi-global ultimates of the Galio and the Nocturne. I'm really envisioning like level 6 with diving bot. Like level 6 for all of our carries, this comp spikes really hard. You dive bot, you try to rotate that into some kind of neutral objective control, and you snowball from level 6 onwards. That's my thought process here. Vision's comps is a little bit more wild to me. I love the Pantheon mid into Galio. It's going to put pressure onto Chimera in the early game. I have not seen Echo jungle in quite some time, but I feel like they will be relying heavily on BB Muffin's roams to have impact in the early game. The counter ganking and the anti-dive potential of an Echo is really strong hit brain, so it's all about whether Alex and BB Muffin can be in the right place at the right time for me.
I feel like both of these teams, you know, maybe bar the kind of mid jungle, there is ease of execution for both teams. You've got the Malphite R, even if he's losing lane, all he has to do is slam that on top of Golden God and everybody else can follow up. Both of these mid laners are going to definitely be looking to roam. When you've got the Grand Starfall, you've got the Grand Entrance as well. Heroic Entrance, actually. Grand Entrance is Rakan. There's a lot of grand things going on in this game. I feel like we're probably just in for a really bloody game. Both of these teams have locked in team comps, but will just want to jump in onto the backline. And I actually feel somewhat sorry for Spark and Golden God this game, because I think they're going to have a lot of people jumping on them. And it's going to be really about how their team can peel and effectively keep them alive. That might show the weakness of kind of what this Nautilus could have been if it was a fresh. Because obviously it's easier to bail the Callisto out with a fresh lantern. But we'll have to see what London want to do here, because they have got a very, very easy to execute engage. And like you said, that tower dive bot lane at level 6 is probably what we're going to be looking out for in this game.
Yeah, but, you know, also you raised a good point about Spark. You know, he's a very immobile AD carry. There is limited peel. The Rakan is there, obviously, great peeling tool. A good Malphite ultimate used defensively, but then using all those ultimates defensively might not be good enough for Nvision in a team fight scenario. I'm also a little bit worried about our spectator right now, who's off on a wild trip up the top lane.
Yeah,
but I'm also kind of worried. I'm also kind of worried for like maybe the lack of damage, that especially when you get past maybe like 30 minutes, there might be like a serious lack of consistent damage, or rather a serious lack of multi-threat damage coming out from Nvision. So that's only one of the other worries that I have right now, Jake.
Yeah, that damage actually could be a little bit worrying. We'll have to see if they can look to snowball with that. But for now, we have loaded through onto the Summer's Rift. London and Vision currently tied in the standings. And Vision won this last time, and London looking for some revenge, looking to equalize out for potential tiebreakers, because I am 90% sure we're going to see at least one tiebreaker for the UKLC, but realistically, probably more at the rate we're going. Everybody is locked up at the top.
I mean, that makes a lot. I think you'd be silly not to expect tiebreakers in this scenario, to be honest with you. There's so many people currently exactly tied on score. We're going to have some scenarios where people are going to end up in equal placements, and we're going to need to resolve them from one way or the other, right? That's what we're expecting from the UKLC going towards the end of the split.
Well, but 8 teams are tied.
It's insane. It's absolutely insane.
It's actually really, really crazy. That's the Omni Stone. Okay. Curious why he goes for the Omni Stone on the Echo jungle. Obviously, it's been a while since I've seen it, so I'd be curious to find out why.
Yeah, I mean, again, I probably couldn't comment because I've not seen enough of it to really know, but maybe just thinks that there are multiple different runes that he can take advantage of in this scenario. It's just not something that I've seen a lot of, to be honest with you.
Yeah, because when we used to see the set jungle, people took Omni Stone mainly for the ability to have Hex Flash. But I don't feel like Hex Flash is all that useful on the Echo, so I'm sure someone can drop me a message on Twitter, explain to me why you'd run.
I mean, maybe he just makes use of like lots of different runes. Like maybe you want to like get Dark Harvest periodically. Like, he works well with Electrocute. He's probably decent with Hail of Blades. Like, there's actually quite a lot of stuff that he uses well. But I just feel like I don't know. It's not something that I've seen enough of to really know. I'd love to get some insight from Alex about the Omnistone. If Nvision win, maybe we can get the thought process behind that one.
Well, that Hawk shot was actually really nice from Spark. Spotted out the roam up from Raisins and Golden God. They place some vision down into Alex's jungle so they can see him on this blue buff when he moves over to it. They spotted out Golden God and Raisins more crucially. And with that knowledge, Alex will at least take out the ward. But Nvision, they'll giving away the position of their jungler right now.
And that I mean, if Alex is looking to early gank, that's obviously something that you do need to be aware of. Chimera here, BB Muffin just going in for the trades. It is a rough matchup for Galio. But yeah, I think if you're looking to gank early as Alex, then you should be aware that giving up your position in this kind of scenario is important, especially because Echo is not one of those junglers that can just appear in lane and have immediate impact. There is setup time required. You need to have good positioning when looking to gank in those laning situations. So, as long as they keep tabs on Alex, they'll be pretty happy with this. And with Warden, he's not looking to really have an impact early. He's just looking to power farm up to 6, and that's when he's going to try and get into the laning phase. And already you can see Raisins and Golden God, they're pretty happy to back off here. They know exactly where Alex was. Good information on that, and he will not get a gank off in that scenario.
Nvision kind of holding the wave just outside of their tower, however, which does mean maybe they'll need some assistance to try and break that. Bibi Muffin jumps in. It's going to take the Justice Punch and has to flash away. He actually put up his Aegis in the wrong direction, so Chimera is actually able to trade out favorably there. That does mean Warden's able to help shove the lane in and maybe look for a reset. Warden's cleared out a lot of his jungle, but they actually have the vision onto Alex right now. Raisins gets himself a bit of a sneaky wraparound, goes in for the flash dredge line. They're looking to follow up as that's going to be the taunt and first blood picked up for Warden.
That was sneaky. I mean, Alex had flash available. He was very, very reluctant to use it. Raisins, I thought, was maybe going to go a little too far, committing to the flash to that scenario, but beautiful pickup for first blood. He's going to really cut Alex's jungle pathing down as well. He loses double buffs. They get gifted over to Warden, who will take that extra experience, Jake. Like, any extra experience from any source is so good for Nocturne in the early game, because the sooner you're 6, the sooner you're going to have direct impact in these lanes. And I've been impressed because Warden's already burnt a flash and also got the kill on the enemy jungler. Beautiful coordination from London as well. All set up from that early vision control around that blue side jungle entrance for Nvision.
And you can see how desperately Warden's trying to get that experience. He hasn't based yet. He is on his second clear of his jungle, and he still hasn't gone for a base. He's perfectly healthy on the Nocturne. And yeah, he's going to hit 6 very fast. You can see he's already just over the halfway mark towards level 6 with that first blood in his pocket. And question to me is, where is he going to go? You were saying bot lane, level 6 is where we expect to see London kind of play for. Bear Tree's level 5. Chimera should hit level 6 fairly soon himself. And I think we probably are in for a little bit of a party bot side.
It makes sense, right? You don't really go top. I mean, obviously there is a gank potential top because of how low Effant is. But realistically, Bear Tree's ultimate global, right? He's going to be able to impact that bot lane dive from the top side of the map. You're going to have Chimera's ability to make his ultimate felt, the ultimate impact felt. It definitely just feels like it's gearing up for a level 6 bot lane dive with Warden and Chimera linking up for that bot side of the map and Bear Tree with the ultimate. It just makes sense given the composition.
Oh, there's level 6 for Bear Tree. Warden's level 6. Chimera, not there yet. But he is catching a wave in the mid lane at the moment. And BB Muffin's just ticked over to level 6. So expect to see Chimera hit that as well. And look at where Warden is on the map right now. He is moving down bot lane. He has no camps here. He's looking for this dive. Although Spark, very much aware of that, is actually looking to step back. But they are looking just for the big wombo. Going to go for the knock-up. That's going to be the paranoia thrown down in onto the back line. The cannon barrage has already been used. And Warden got that fear off. Golden God trying to get the damage out as well as BB Muffin joins into the fray. So far, it's a 2-for-1 in favor of London, but the health bars are low onto Golden God already. The heroic entrance is coming down, and BB Muffin's going to get knocked up and taken down. London just walk through Nvision in the bot side.
Oh, and Alex did everything right. I felt like the only thing that went wrong was that Nvision started the fight and blew a lot of their counter CC straight up, but it was exactly as we expected. It's a level 6 bot composition. They get everything they could have asked for, barring the turret, but they're going to pick up this Drake. They're now going to be able to make a swap to top side for that 8-minute Rift Herald spawn. Beautiful execution. It went so well for London, and that's exactly what their composition was designed to do.
And all of the money went onto the perfect people for them as well. Warden got 2 kills. Well, Warden got 1 kill. And Golden God picked up 3 kills in that. He went straight to base, got the build towards the Cutlass. Like you said, rotating up towards the top side for this Herald spawn. Paranoia already over half of its cooldown is back. And if Nvision want to contest this could be a really, really hard contest. So I feel like they probably will just look to farm. Spark and Nash, they want nothing to do with this Rift Herald. They're staying in the bot lane. They're going to try and get as many plates onto Spark as possible.
This is exactly. London need to keep the momentum going though here, Hitprain. Like that, it's so good to have that start, but you need to keep that momentum up. Get that Rift Herald, look to take first tower in some in one of your lanes, either be bot or mid, whatever you want to apply pressure to. But this is like the perfect and ideal start. And for Nvision, like their best bet right now is try to get as much gold onto that Ashe as physically possible. Just try and get her going. BB Muffin, I think, is starting to sort of miss his opportunity. But obviously, they need to work around the timers. They need to work around the Gangplank ultimate. They need to work around the paranoia. And they need to make sure that they're able to respond with Alex and BB Muffin and try and find a big counter gank. There's the paranoia already.
There's the paranoia, there's the taunt, there's the death. Warden able to pick himself up a killing spree as BB Muffin falls.
And this is London now. Had the opportunity to potentially drop the Rift Herald mid, but beautiful response from Effin and Nash to say, okay, very well aware that the easy play for London would be to push that mid lane, take plates, and drop the Rift Herald, although it hasn't actually been taken yet. I'm lying. I thought Rift Herald was already taken.
It's okay. They went for the swap early, they shoved the lane in, and now they're going to take it.
Irrespective, that gank set up Rift Herald really nicely. Obviously, it's Pantheon, so he can respond, but like you said, it's too much of a risk right now to go in on London, who are just so far ahead. Look at the Nocturne. This is beautiful for Nocturne. 303, plenty of gold. Rift Herald picked up. 302 on Callista, working towards her Blade of the Ruin King spike. And Nvision, they're trying to essentially trade global objective pressure for plates on their important carries like the Ashe, and that's what's happening here with Spark and Nash. They're not rotating because there's no point for them. They can't really do anything in the 2v2. They were never going to contest Rift Herald, so their trade-off is saying let's force the 2v1 and let's get plate gold for our carry, because obviously as the game goes on, Spark is going to be the majority of the team fight damage. BB Muffin will eventually fall off, and Alex hasn't exactly sort of had a stellar start here, so he's going to be a little bit lackluster in terms of damage output. It's all going to be about Spark as this game gets further and further on, so giving him the plates and the sort of the experience down the bottom side of the map, that makes sense.
But you can see Spark already pretty far behind from the kind of early snowball. Herald's been spawned in the top lane, and it should just be London finding themselves first turret blood. Gonna get split between the members. Finally will go down. London, no, actually, they've got a pretty big wave. See if they actually want to try and contest and get a second shove out here. Evan does have his ultimate available, so could look for something, but it's going to take out the Herald, and now actually just going to take a serious amount of damage as Golden God just finds himself a rampage.
This is disaster if you're Nvision, and so good if London. You know, everything's going to plan here. You didn't quite get the second charge off, but you just constantly look to rotate and apply pressure now. Like, now you head back down bot, start to pressure out that bot lane tier 1. You've got 3 minutes until plates drop, Hip Brain. 3 minutes until plates drop. Paranoia is up. Bear Tree's ultimate is up. Chimera is going to have his ultimate up. Like, you just go bot, and then you potentially force another dive, or whoever looks to defend that bot lane tier 1. You just go. You all in everything on that bottom side of the map once more, and you should be able to get a huge amount out of that now. This is so good for London.
Especially the fact that Dragon as well.
Exactly. Yeah. Sorry, I just interrupted you, but that's what I was going to try. I was trying to add that, but I was a little bit late, and I left the pause, and I was like, oh wait, I was trying to say the same thing. But yeah, hey, Dragon.
It's fine. London actually rotating a couple of members in towards this mid lane. Looks like they want to get some vision control through the jungle and spot out where Alex is, so they can either catch him out, or if he's not on the side of the map, they feel comfortable to go for the dive with the man advantage. Alex is going for a base. You can see with the zoom out, actually, all of the vision control London have been able to accrue for themselves, especially with a dragon spawning up. You can tell this is exactly where they're looking to fight. They will take out the last ward. Another one will get placed down, though.
And again, it's up to Alex and BB Muffin to potentially be the counter dive in this scenario. It doesn't even look like London want to force a dive. They're just going to say second Drake. And remember, this could be an Infernal. It's going to be Infernal or Cloud. I think if you're London, you're obviously hoping for Infernal, because it's going to give you a really solid Dragon Soul win condition. It's Cloud. Never mind.
So Cloud is actually kind of nice for a team comp, which always wants to press R.
That's very true. That's actually very true, especially for Nocturne. Imagine hitting your Nocturne and then having a massive speed boost after
Spark won't be able to get away from him. If they get Cloud Soul, like, in most cases, I agree with people in saying Cloud's kind of a little lackluster, but in this comp, I actually really like the Cloud, because Gangplank and the Galio have fairly lengthy ultimate cooldowns. Obviously, a lot of cooldown reduction will get channeled with the Paranoia getting used. We might just have to watch BB Muffin crumble once again. He goes in for the stun, but Warden gets himself that rampage kill. And London, this is what we expected to see from them coming into the UKLC. Clean, crisp, and understanding their win conditions.
Yeah, and constantly abusing BB Muffin as well in the mid lane. He's one of those mid laners that we talked about can have up and down performances, especially when you put pressure on him like this. He's looking very uncomfortable despite the CS lead, despite the fact he's had laning pressure versus Chimera. He hasn't actually translated that into anything. Warden a little bit overextended here. Will block out the knock-up though.
Oh,
Flash out of the Ash Arrow nicely enough, and we'll move out. Although I just don't really feel like he needed to be there, though. He was kind of really pushed up into the blue side jungle. I'm not really sure what he was trying to achieve by doing that.
Yeah, felt a little over eager from Warden. They know they're ahead, but the plates will finally fall off. And as the dust settles from this 14-minute early game, it is a 5,100 gold lead over to the side of London right now. You can see it on your screens from the gold graph. It has just been growing. You can almost see the point where level 6 happened, actually, on that gold graph. It just drops.
Well, they did gain like a 2 or 3k gold advantage just off that level 6. So that makes like a lot of sense. So plates have now dropped. So they don't, I'm not going to be able to get any more plates on the bottom side of the map. They're going to rotate up. It's going to be the second Rift Herald play here. London again, the more skirmishes they can kind of draw Nvision into, the better. But it's not, I don't even think it's like Nvision have got a late game get out clause. You know, when you're in this scenario as a team and you've got like really good late game scaling, it's not even like Nvision have got that. And they don't really have any kind of like ace at their sleeve. I don't even think they scale that much better than London, because you're still going up against a Gangplank. Who is obviously really strong as the game goes on anyway. This to me just feels like Nvision were trying to match London in the early game. They were trying to utilize the Echo and the Pantheon for the counter dive, but they just didn't get the setup correct. You know, those champions are best used in like a counter gank scenario. So if that bot lane tower dive happened, Pantheon dives in, so does Alex. He sets up the stun, he gets an AoE stun at a tower. That would have been the play, right? It just wasn't set up correctly at level 6. And now I'm trying to struggling to find a way that Nvision look for an inroad back into this game, you know?
Pick off Spark's Ash Arrow onto an isolated member of London is probably the best way they can pull this back. But for me, the question is are London actually ever have someone on their own who isn't the Gangplank or the Galio? Gangplank obviously having the cleanse available, and Galio being pretty hard to kill. It feels like there's always someone who can offer help as well with the amount of globals they've got. So it could be incredibly rough here for Nvision, but they do have the ability to find a pick. It's just how well they can execute that. And like you're saying, the lack of damage could really prove to be a problem, and maybe the undoing here for Nvision as they've fallen behind as it is. And we were already concerned about their damage.
My issue is that, you know, when you've got BB Muffin this far behind, like the Pantheon power spike's kind of gone, isn't it? Like the Pantheon power spike no longer exists.
Yeah.
So that guy then simply becomes like an E-bot, or like, you know, a kind of an execute potential where he's relying on damage coming from the rest of the team. Alex hasn't exactly popped off either, like we said. So I just have a little bit of a concern for Nvision's kind of team fight consistent damage output. I mean, Ash is like one entire item behind Golden God right now. And the third Drake's about to spawn. You know, Soul Timer is going to be around 22, 23 minutes. This could be a pretty quick game for London if they just stick to their win conditions and play around these neutral objectives like they have been.
And normally you'd like to see teams kind of contest this third Drake to basically stop every Drake being a potential soul win condition. But in this case, I feel like Nvision can't contest it. They're so far behind. Spark is 2 levels down on Golden God. Like you said, an entire item down on Golden God. I just feel like Nvision can't contest this dragon. They have to give it up, and they'll have to look to contest Cloud Soul.
But then, do they even have spikes that can work to contest Cloud Soul? Like, you're looking at the Golden God, who's at like his prime spike right now. Like Death Dance, like beyond this, and suddenly you're looking at such an insane 3-item carry. You've got 2 items on the Noxen completed, where you have the Trinity Force finished very early on the Gangplank. Like, who actually competes on Nvision?
Golden God actually looking to get caught out. They use the heroic entrance into the hook, into the cannon barrage. The paranoia is on. And Golden God makes himself unstoppable as yet another member of Nvision will forward. Double kill picked up. onto the Callistas. Barrier actually gets used by Chimera as he flashes in, tries to look for the taunt, but Alex is able to flash away. They do find an Ash Arrow onto Golden God, instantly uses that cleanse. And just playing with complete confidence, London find themselves another 2 picks.
A beautiful cleanse from, I had to just admire the reactions from Golden God like that. That was instantaneous from him. But honestly, they could have played that fight 10 times better, but they all could have played it 10 times worse, and they probably would have come out on top. They're just that far ahead. They just have the item spikes to work with. We have the Dragon Soul spawning in 4 minutes. We have the Baron spawning in 1.5. The gold lead has been edged out to around 7,000. This is just by the numbers for London right now. They've had to do nothing really after that level 6 dive. Like, they really couldn't have done much wrong as long as they played around skirmish objectives like the Rift Herald, like the Dragons. They played to that early Dragon Soul win condition. Like, I don't really think that London could have done much wrong here, and they've just played the game on a macro level really well.
Yeah, absolutely. You can also see the QSS just got picked up for Golden God, so even with that cleanse down, they can't really pick him off with the Ash Arrow like they tried to in that last fight. Now, it does allow London, if they want to contest this Baron on spawn, they will have to shift some wards up. And I actually think they could do Baron very quick on spawn. So something Nvision may have to play around. They do not want to lose Baron early because they're lacking in damage. They'll be lacking in wave clear. They're not going to be able to deal with Baron waves. And London are just setting up the vision on this top side of the map. I mean, they have a lot of vision down the bot side for that last Drake, but it is now shifting up towards the top lane as they are looking to try and set up for either a bait into Baron or just a sneaky Baron.
I mean,
like
either works, right? They are now looking to go aggressive. Bear Tree being focused down by Alex and BB Muffin on the bottom side of the map, but it's not even like they're going to get a huge amount out of this. I mean, London, they should just go start Baron right now. BB Muffin can't even get the kill. Bear Tree too far ahead. That's a complete waste of ultimates, and it's given now a time for London to go straight onto the Baron.
No, it's that jungle that showed bot lane, so this should be pretty comfortable for London. They have been spotted out by the Hawk shot. Evan has the unstoppable force, and they're all grouped up. Might be a little hairy here. Teleports are getting used. Evan has been spotted out, and he is looking to try and come in, but they're just going to jump into Evan, who has to jump away with his ultimate. And back to Baron, and he resets a little bit. Parallel convergence will be thrown down by Alex, and looks like that was enough to scare London off the objective. They get the teleport out of Bear Tree. So Nvision at least gets something for that.
Yeah, I think it's a sensible decision by London. Like, there is still plenty of opportunity to throw at Baron. You're still taking a 50-50 at this spot. You're still equal levels with Alex and Warden being at 12. There's no need to take those risks. Like, it's much easier for you to set up around the Dragon in 2 minutes time and just go for that Dragon Soul, then again readjust and set up for the Baron. QSS is there for Golden God, by the way, so he has an extra cleanse on top of the cleanse that will be coming up cooldown pretty soon. So he's got the double cleanse coming through, and it looks like he's going to work towards the Death Dance now. So he's just having that QSS as an extra opportunity. He's utilizing that gold advantage to have an extra safety net, which is going to be so good versus the stuns coming through from or the charm from Nash, the stun from Spark, the stun from Alex. You know, there's loads of even the stun from BB Muffin. There's loads of stuns for him to have to worry about, being a fairly close and aggressive AD carry. The extra safety net is a really sensible idea for him. Yeah,
I really like that pickup for him. Meanwhile, Spark sitting on a Zeal, almost got his Hurricane, but even with the QSS tax, Golden God is just so much further ahead. Could we actually get a quick toggle on the gold? See the individual members, just to show you how far ahead Golden God is over Spark right now. It's 3,000 gold hereabouts. Golden God just miles ahead of Spark right now. Mid lane up, top lane up, jungle up, support up. Every role is just up right now for London. It just comes off clear reading of their win conditions.
8k gold advantage will do that for you, but agree. Like these comps are always a bit not 100% coin flip, but these comps can be a little bit dangerous because if you don't make that level 6 work, like you kind of lose a bit of opportunity. Like you lose the momentum, and that one window that you had to exploit to kind of start the snowball does go out the window a little bit. But they did it well. You know, they executed perfectly. And actually, honestly, I think it was a mix of Nvision's mistake as well as it was London's execution, because Nvision, they were set up for it, right? Alex was in the brush at level 6. BB Muffin was looking, you know, for a potential roam down with the ultimate. But it was the fact that Alex engaged first, and that then allowed them to negotiate the CC and then allow Warden to come in afterwards. That was the problem that Nvision had, I think, with that level 6. Otherwise, you know, if they'd set up for a potential counter tower dive, it might have gone the other way, Hitbrain. But honestly, all credit to London. They knew exactly which window they needed to use, and they used it.
I think what was really good about that play as well was Chimera didn't just instantly ult on top of Warden when he threw the paranoia down. He actually waited until he was actually needed to ult. So it wasn't like it was just burn all your ultimates and find the kills now. It was actually very well communicated and very well played by London, kind of tempering when they use their ultimates and when they use their aggression. And that has slingshotted them ahead over the side of Nvision right now. And clearing out the vision from the side of Nvision, slowly but surely moving up. Then you know that London want to go for this Baron. They've now got Cloud Soul. So the only real objective left for them are these towers and this Baron. They're just going to blast cone over the wall and start it up.
Actually, a stopwatch picked up for Golden God as well, by the way. It's
He
pretty
does
crazy.
not want to get caught.
He really does not want to get caught. Like, happy to just utilize those 2 offensive item spikes. They're zoning out here. Bear Tree and Chimera doing what they can to buy time, as now Nvision do get a good position to counter this Baron out. Brazers has taken a lot of damage here, Hitbrain.
Yeah. They are going to find the hook and the paranoia off, the taunt onto 1, and that's going to be the force onto 3 to get the big old knock-up. Jumping onto the backline, though, Warden looking to run down Spark as the fight is just scattered on all fronts, but the taunt from Chimera is gorgeous, catching out everyone. Raisins running to the wind as Alex will take him down, but London just mop up Nvision once again, and they can turn back to Baron.
Yes, but Alex is alive. That was a great win for London, but they do need to be ever so slightly concerned about Alex looking for a potential steal here. You can see Chimera's doing a great job of zoning him away. It was still, I think, a good effort by Nvision in that team fight, but London are just too far ahead for you to take on in a direct 5v5. That stopwatch came in absolutely clutch for Golden God as well, and he's just too scary. Chimera will stop Alex looking for the steal, and they should be able to secure the Baron.
That is Baron picked up for London. Raisins, I believe, actually respawned in time to get it himself, so all 5 members will have that. Nope. Oh, that's unlucky, buddy. But with that, London do now have the Baron. They've only got 1 turret outside of the base in that top lane left to deal with, and for Nvision, this is where it's going to feel really, really rough. They have very limited wave clear outside of the Ashe, and if Spark steps up, he is liable just to get jumped on by London.
I think anybody is liable to get jumped on by London right now. I genuinely think they could burst out a multitude of the carries or even the frontliners for Nvision. We're now looking at a 10,000 above 10,000 gold lead. I mean, even Bear Tree is ridiculously scary. Look at this. Alex is just going to get taken down. Bear Tree will pick up the kill. I don't really know what London do here.
Looking for a desperation play. That's the massive wombo combo. Heroic entrance and a massive 3-man taunt, as well as Warden able to assassinate the backline. A double kill picked up for Bear Tree. Nash will get feared. He'll get run down, and the ace for Chimera. They used everything to shut Golden God down, and it cost them their entire team, and it will probably cost them the game. And Nvision just couldn't find a grip into this, while London just played a stellar game of League of Legends.
Macro focused, knew their win conditions, executed on them well. It was a beautiful game from London, what we expected to see from this team from the very get-go. Hitbrain, and they will take the Nexus.
27 minutes on the clock, going for 1 more glory kill as Alex pings out. Nexus will fall, and London equalize the score versus Nvision.
Really, really good game. I think we touched on it in the game enough, to be honest with you, Jake. It was really clean. Like, they knew their win conditions, they executed on them well. It's exactly what we expected when we saw the composition in draft. It's actually a very popular style of composition that we see, especially with the Kalista in lane. You're just looking to make that execute at level 6 on the bot side of the map. That was clean. I mean, there's nothing more to say about it. I just don't think the Nvision comp had the tools. If they weren't able to counter that first bot lane level 6 attempt, if they weren't set up for it correctly, it's not like they had a late game get out of jail free card. It's not like they had the scaling to deal with it. And I think if you lose control of the early game with Nvision's composition, you lose control of the game, and that's kind of what we saw. Yeah,
there isn't really too much you can break down on that game. It was win conditions were hit, They pulled it off perfectly, what they needed to do when they needed to do it. And then you saw, a very clean snowball from London. They weren't willing to kind of overstep and overreach for some glory potentially there. They actually played that as smooth and as clean as possible. You saw that earlier Baron bait. They could have turned back for the Baron and 50-50'd it and looked for another team fight. But instead, they recognized it was a little bit too risky, so they stepped away. And that was nice to see London kind of play a bit more tempered. Obviously, we are running out of weeks left in the UKLC, and they are currently trying to climb back up towards the top, as that's where everyone thought London were going to place by the end of the season. And this London, if they can play to this level for the rest of the season, I don't see any reason why they can't be at the top.
Oh, absolutely not. That was, an NLC team equivalent level of macro control this game. Not saying that I think Nvision put up much resistance, but that was really clean from London. You can really see that they've been practicing their coordination, and I think that they knew exactly. What's so impressive is that the timing of the way that they timed their backs. Like you saw Warden's back timing was perfect. Chimera's setup was super nice on there as well, and also all of the back timings from the bot lane were fantastic too. So they hit everything they needed to in that game to really make sure that they executed the way they needed to, and that was like I said. This game was kind of lost from level 6 in my opinion. Like I genuinely just think like I want to find a way to elaborate and extend, but realistically, if London played the game they needed to, which they did, like they won that from level 6, especially with how much they got at level 6 as well. I mean, you wouldn't expect to get that much out of a level 6 tower dive, or it wasn't even a tower dive, but you wouldn't expect to get that much out of a level 6 usually, but they got everything they needed to and more, and that gave them the platform for success. And as long as they didn't make a misstep, they had the game. It
looked to me like London's communication was probably some of the best we've seen from them. Like you're saying, with making sure they're getting their backs at the right times and stuff like that. It generally looked like the whole team were just firing on the same cylinder. They were just one well-oiled machine, and with that, they were able to get the win. Now, guys, we are going to cut to a quick break. When we're back, we have an interview with Golden God, so don't go anywhere. We'll see you after this break. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the UKLC, where we're actually ready to have ourselves an interview with Golden God. Golden God, are you here?
Yeah, I'm here. You guys?
Yeah, how you doing, mate? You all right?
Pretty good, yeah.
Awesome. So let's talk a little bit about this game. Obviously, it was fairly one-sided. So there's kind of not a lot to talk about, but I want to talk a little bit more about the actual team, because everybody coming into this split really favored you guys as one of the strongest in the league. And it felt like you haven't quite hit that mark yet. As of today, you are now back up into like third, depending on obviously what happens to Enclave and M&M today. Things could shift and change around a little bit more, but we'll have to find out. What's been going on internally in the team to kind of get you back on track to get to the top?
Well, we just kept on scribbling like we did so far. We just adapted like a bit of our analyzing the games and communication. But so far we didn't like increase how much is scrim. And yeah, I think we generally spoke about individual goals as well, like what a certain player has to do. So that kind of improved us as well, I think, for now.
I've actually got a question about that style of team comp, because obviously that was kind of very level 6 focused. It was very bot lane focused. Is it like an objective of you guys to sort of make Bear Tree weak side top lane and then kind of play through bot? Is that something that you think favors your team style more so?
Yeah, we generally mostly practice playing bot lane, but also Bear Tree is mechanically really good top laner as well. Like we also have played scrims where we played weak side bot side with Ezreal, for example. Like last few games we played Ezreal in UKLC as well, and so basically we play top side as well. But we, I guess, prefer bot lane, but I won't say too much.
No, and it's always good to not give away a huge amount.
Yeah.
But that game seemed really coordinated, and I think that was like the almost looked like you were doing a training camp on macro timers. Like it almost looked like you were just training. Everything went to plan. Is that kind of like, was that? Do you feel like you hit the perfect game plan there? Like everything went the way you wanted it to?
Well, we got the lead bot lane with the level 6 fight. We were like the 44, or was it 45 or 55? I don't know. After that, the game was pretty clean. Like, obviously, you can just do whatever you want if you don't fuck up and don't get TP'd on from behind and just get killed. So we basically just went from that point on. Just went to objectives, like when they respawn, swapped around, and just, yeah, that's basically what we did.
I mean, understandable on that. So let's talk a little bit more about the league in general. Obviously, you guys are looking to get back up to the top. That much is obvious. Who do you think is going to be your biggest wall to overcome? Which team potentially poses the biggest threat to you guys right now?
I don't know. Barrage looking pretty strong. We lost to them already. Did we lose to them? Now you know.
You
actually,
you beat Demise.
I mean Barrage.
Oh, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong team. I haven't got my list.
I mean, Barrage are 2 and 6 right now, so
yeah,
they're beating 2 people.
Well, anyways, I don't know. I'm not really scared of any team myself. Like the only ADC I know in the UKLC league is like Rapstar, and there are players I sometimes know from them in their like on their specific roles from solo queue. But I feel like most of the players are not really good, or like I don't know at least. And I have like a really good team. I feel like jungler is really good, our mid laner is really good, top lane is insane. My support just smurfing sometimes. I don't think like I think we don't have a problem against any team anymore.
That's good. That's good to hear. Good confidence coming at you. Well, thank you very much for joining us here, Golden God, and good luck for your future games coming up in the UKLC. Yeah. For us here, that does mean we'll be wrapping that up and we'll be heading into game number 2. But before that, we will be cutting to a quick break. So after the break, we'll have Demise versus Bulldog.